Good evening. Welcome to Visual Radio Live. Today is January 17th, 2013. It's our third show of 2013. The views and opinions on Visual Radio are those of the host, Joe Viglione. His guests, might be a bunch of them tonight there, but we do have the lovely Jeanne Martin here in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Her views as well as mine. Not necessarily those of Winchester Community Access Media, its board of directors, its staff, its members, all our affiliate stations, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, Boston Community Cablevision, Cambridge CCTV, Somerville, Billerica, Brookline. I mean, we're Hamilton Wenham, all over Monson Palmer out in Springfield. We're all over the place. Welcome, Jeanne.
Well, thank you.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you, too.
January 13th, you've been very busy since you last appeared on our show.
Yes, yes.
You've been a presence so much at the school committee meetings,
That's
they think
true.
you're the honorary school committee member.
Yes, I am.
In Medford. In Medford. We're
Medford.
on Winchester TV, but
Yeah.
Medford is watching us on WinCAM.org. So you can tune in on WinCAM.org, and I have a suspicion 2 mayoral candidates are watching us tonight.
Really? That's awesome.
So hello to Anthony D'Antonio, John Byers, welcome to the show. You guys can call in if you want later. But school committee, so you've maybe been at 6, 7, 8 of them now?
Yes, well, about 6, yep. Because, well, they meet every other week. They don't meet every week.
So you're a citizen of Medford. Maybe you can answer a question for me. If the mayor's a chairman of the school committee and he's there every week, how come he, in 26 years, he's been at 1 city council meeting? 1.
Because he doesn't want to be.
He's camera shy. 11 years ago, there was a methadone controversy.
He showed up for that,
And he had a script, I heard.
probably.
He was scripted, he read the script, and he bolted.
Right, that sounds like, what he would do.
If I'm mayor for 1 year, can I ask you a favor? Can you shut the door? Thank you. Because I'm hearing people singing. And along with the voices in my head, that's difficult for me to think. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. We have a studio audience tonight, which is always a lovely thing.
Well, one of the things that I would like to do, one of the reasons why I showed up at the school committee meetings is because our high school needs a lot of repairs. It's a 40-year-old building. And
40?
40
The high school?
It's like 1972, I think.
See, I think of it as
1971.
modern because I'm so old. I remember the condos next to the Chevalier were the old high school.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize it was 40.
Yeah, it's a 40-year-old building. Absolutely.
It doesn't look too bad, but I'm sure the infrastructure
Right.
is worse than what it looks
Right.
like.
I mean, the wiring and everything, it's old. And it needs a total evaluation. And of course, that costs money. But, and I'm okay with spending money on that study. The mayor has paid out $700,000 for a study for a water taxi on the Mystic River.
And $800,000 for a garage, which is a combination of $1.5 million.
Yes.
And $15,000 for this. I'd like to throw that in for this little report. $15,000 more. Well, $3,900 for this, and then for an audit. So that's $1,500,015. $1,515,000. $1,515,000. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah, it is. And with that evaluation, I would like to also see the VOC be reevaluated, retooled. I would like to see robotics in our VOC. We have an excellent VOC. We have an excellent economic engine called the Medford VOC, vocational school, where they teach kids how to be electricians and HVAC, heating and air conditioning, auto mechanic. A lot of my relatives have gone through the VOC and gotten jobs right out of high school. And
Where is it?
not everybody, the VOC, it's right up at the high school. It's associated to it's right,
It's just
part of the
smack dab in
building.
the middle of it or part of
no,
it?
it's part of the building.
Okay.
Yeah, and not everybody can afford college, not everybody wants to go to college. So I would like to see our VOC be, retooled and, incorporate the new things that are out there today, like robotics.
Now, one of my favorite tools is a public records request. Could we put a public records request in to find out, because I'd like to know how many students are at the VOC, how many are at the regular high school.
I'm sure that you can find out by talking to the superintendent.
They'll
of
probably
schools.
just tell you. You wouldn't
Yeah,
have to be
they-
so formal as to put in a Freedom of Information Act.
Right, no, yeah, I'm sure you could ask the secretary of the superintendent to find out that.
Because here's an idea I have for you. Since we're in the neighboring town, and since Richard Howard, the town manager here, did a phenomenal job, they say, with the Malden school system, I think it might be nice to put a public records request into Richard Howard and one into Christensen in Malden, and ask how much the studies were for the voc here and the studies were for the voc this. So we have these comparisons.
Now, does Malden have a voc?
I don't know. I assumed all schools did because they had it in Arlington.
No, not all schools do.
Oh, I'm learning something here. We'll find out then. We'll find out if Malden has a voc and if Winchester has a voc.
Well, we're in the voc.
This is the voc?
Well, they have woodworking and they have.
She's smarter than me.
I'm
I'm
assuming
just a
this.
guest.
I'm assuming this is the voc because this area of the school has
You
the
noticed in
similar
there.
things that our voc has.
Okay. And I think Arlington, I went to Arlington High, so I'm pretty sure they have a voc. So we could put public records requests into Arlington. And in other cities that have a voc, I'd like to know what a study costs. So we go to Medford City Hall and say, you know, these studies you're doing, Your Honor, $800,000 is a lot for a garage, and I heard Beverly does $50,000 study. Even 50 is a lot of money to me. I don't know what the line item is for a study. 50 grand. I mean, 800 just sounds like what you pay for the product.
Yes, it does. I mean, it's, but that's what the study cost for the garage. I mean, it's just insane. It's absolutely insane.
But there's never any kind of quantifying it for the public. So we're just told these numbers, 800 grand, and no one knows that 100,000 had to go to the lawyers,
Right.
50,000 to an accountant, that we know nothing.
Right. Well, that's the job of the press. The press is supposed to find out that stuff for us. I mean, or, it would be nice if he put it online. But we don't have the budget online either. That's another, Our municipal budget is not online.
Did you see a story was pulled off of the Boston Globe last week, a Medford story?
Really?
You didn't see this?
No.
An activist sent me an email saying this story is missing. So I wrote to Allison Goldsberry, a friend of ours at the show here, and said, your article's missing from the Boston Globe. I'd like to hope it's not censored by the mayor because it was all about the city council meeting.
Oh, the one with the ruckus?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was, Allison wrote an editorial on, because you could read the first quarter of the first paragraph was still on Google. It hadn't been wiped out yet. So you got the gist that she was writing about nationally the divide politically between Republicans and Democrats, and the divide in Medford just between citizens and between the council itself. So Allison wrote, because Allison has a lot to say, but they basically gave her a job at the high school and she has to
Toe the line.
toe the line. So she wrote me a nice letter back and said that the borders weren't working and she'd have it up later. And I said, all due respect, Allison, I really like you, and you know I like you. You've written 500-600 articles. I find it very disturbing that this one article is the one with border issues when you never have border issues. I don't know. Don't you find that odd?
Of course. That's.
You brought up press.
Yeah, I brought up press because,
I did too.
yeah, exactly. I think, they have a new person at the patch, Jake, I believe his name is.
Jake's from Somerville.
Yeah, and he did a nice article on the week of the ruckus, the week of the first week of the city council meeting.
Yeah, he even mentioned me, which is a no-no in that city.
I know.
He did a good job.
He did. He said it exactly how it happened on the Medford patch. Poor Winchester people are listening to the Medford news. But
No, I think it's good that people get to hear this. So what's your take on, say, the school committee and then the council and how they both conducted themselves? I think the council...
Well, they're apples and oranges because every year the mayor hires himself or elects himself basically to be the chairman of the school committee, which he should not be, in my opinion. He can by law, I suppose, but he shouldn't be. There are 6 members of the committee. plus the superintendent that shows up every day, every week, every school committee meeting. And he is the president every single time. So he has, and also the school committee doesn't really get paid any money. They get like $1,000, $2,000. It's a very small stipend. So they're basically volunteers, and they're well-meaning, but they have no power. So the mayor has all control, and he has the vice president of the school committee is Mr. Falco, and he does whatever the mayor wants. It's as simple as that.
I like Mr. Falco as a person. Very friendly,
Yeah.
easy to get along with. So I wonder how the mayor can wield enormous control over people. And, city council is a good example because we're the proactive ones. Have you noticed?
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot. Jeanne wrote an amazing article on public access funding.
Mm-hmm. I did.
And it's in the patch, so you can just put Jeanne Martin patch, it'll come right up in Google.
The bottom line is that, as you know, 5%, well, I don't know if you guys know, but 5% of our bill, so if I have a cable bill for $100, whether it's Verizon or whether it's Comcast, I have a bill of now $105 because there is a fee, a $5 fee, a 5% fee that is added to my bill, and 3% of that, or $3 of that $5, goes straight into the general fund in Medford. The other $2, or 2%, is divided into two 1% slices of the pie. And 1% goes to TV3, and 0.5% goes to the high school, 0.5% goes to the government channel. And what's interesting is that I asked through a public records request how much money goes into the general, how much is collected, and it's 800. The total is 872,000 or 73,000, I want to say, every year. That $5 off of everybody's bill.
About 17,000 people.
Yeah.
Which is about $60 a month each if you're paying $100. A year, $60 a year.
$60 a year, yes. So everybody puts into that fund, and then the general fund, the general tax base, which can pay for anything from the highway department, the police department, the school department, anything, it comes up to over $500,000 in new taxes. It's a revenue maker for the city of Medford. Whether that's legal or not, I do not know, but that's what happens to 500,000, $500,000. So imagine how many jobs, how many teachers, how many policemen we fund just through this cable fee. And then
I can give you the exact figure for 2010 and 2011 was 1.3 million.
1.3 million. So that's more than the number that I got in 2011.
No, it's less. It's like, it's about 650,000.
Okay.
700,000 be 14, 1.4. It's 1.3. It was in the Boston.com or or Nick Iovino, but I cut and pasted it. And the key thing here is that in Winchester, you're paying a franchise fee. So on top of your cable bill, and Jeanne said it right, it's on top of the cable bill. If you look on the back of your Comcast, you'll see the franchising fee. And Comcast also takes money for certain, you have to ask Comcast, because I asked when I paid the bill. I went to the Malden place and I said, what's my franchise fee going for? They didn't know.
Oh, they did not know.
Now, do you know what a public file is? At Comcast, you can write a letter to the public file. So I'm urging people to write a letter to the public file and say, where does my franchising fee go? Now, a public file is if you walk into a radio station or Comcast, they have a filing cabinet and you ask for the public file, and they have to hand you all the letters they get from the public. It's illegal to put them in the circular file or the trash bin. Some radio stations long ago that are no longer in existence, it is alleged they went right into the circular file. So people would file a complaint. I would ask, and they said, oh, your letter went into another department. Because the program director did not want me writing a letter about him, because I was right. So I've been an activist a long time. But these public files are very powerful because you as a citizen can write to these public files, and then you can always file a public records request with your town. You could file a complaint or a letter of happiness, a cordial letter to your town, and then 30 days later write a public records request to make sure it's on file. And that's what I do sometimes. I send a letter and then I send a public records request to know they got my letter and it exists, and they can't throw it away after you do that. Because, so watching what you're doing and being the watchdog of what you're doing, because you just don't want that stuff to disappear.
Absolutely. So to finish that thought, $183,000 a year goes to our public access channel.
Which right now is off the air for till the 22nd.
It's really sad. They just show these reruns of what they just show.
We Are the World is playing.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I don't know what We Are the World is, but
We Are the World is the Michael Jackson song for the.
oh, that one, the one where everybody gets together,
Yeah, with
all the movie stars and singers.
yeah, and,
Singers. Yep.
Kenny Rogers
Yep.
and all these great people.
Yep.
But it runs relentlessly on TV3 Medford. They have very little programming. The sewage has backed up into their station.
Oh yes, I heard about that.
So the TV station sewage has backed up into under Congressman Markey's office. So I filed complaints with Congressman Markey and said, what's going on here? And at your congressman's office in the basement, there's sewage backing up whenever there's a storm. This is not what you want in the heart of Medford Square. Used to be a restaurant upstairs. I mean, that's the kind of thing that's, I don't like it. And because it's repeated. It's repeated. It's not just one incident. It just keeps happening and happening.
Right.
So the access station's off the air till the 22nd.
It doesn't matter whether it comes on or not anyway, because there's nothing on it.
Well, newsflash, I was told by a very good source that the mayor, when he did this report, had actually no intention of putting a new access station together for the community. His idea was to shut the whole thing down. And the mayor wanted to follow what California was doing, shutting access down, which would mean you wouldn't have this show. And whether you like this show or not, I'm here to tell you that if you live in Winchester, you can come down to WinCAM and do what I do. So if you want to talk about the great job Richard Howard's doing, or if you're not happy with him, come down and talk about it. Now, I had the honor of videotaping a town meeting here.
Oh really? Good.
We WinCam full shot, please. Thank you. We WinCam residents, and we want to thank Jeff Dearman, our director. Hey, Jeff. Do you like Jeff's ring?
I love Jeff's ring. It's great. It's a Bruins. It's a big, heavy Bruins, like almost a winner's ring.
And you'll be able to see him at the Bruins games. He's an usher.
Oh, somebody's calling.
I'm sure it's John Byers. But and I'll talk about
Yeah, pick it up.
the town meeting in a second.